Morning.
It's the way Singapore wakes up.
Wake up.
Glenn, Angel, and the Flying Dutchman.
Wake up in the morning feeling like
Kiss 92's Big Show.
Good morning, Singapore. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is the award-winning, the Oscar-winning, okay, not Oscar-winning, but the award-winning therapist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan. Good morning, Gerry.
Good morning. It's always so dramatic every time you give an introduction.
Yeah, you can thank Glenn for that. We have nothing to do with it.
I should have award-winning psychologist, Dr. Geraldine Tan.
But it is true, though. She is award-winning, and we're so lucky to have you here with us every Tuesday talking about things that need to be spoken about.
Well, I enjoy my work. I hope everybody does. And enjoy their work. Yeah,
that's very important that people enjoy what they do. So for anyone who's tuned in to us right now, Gerry, who hates going to work, do you have any advice for them before we go into today's topic?
That's such a difficult thing, and you have to put me on the spot, right? But for the young ones choosing their careers, so for the teens, for those in poly, in JC, I always remind them, choose something that they know that they will enjoy. Not because someone tells them to choose that subject or choose that career, or they feel compelled to do it, or, it earns me a lot of money, so therefore I go into it. Yeah, so don't choose it just because it earns you all the big bucks.
Well,
Because
you know
the
what?
money would not.
That would mean all the kids will become TikTok stars and YouTube stars.
Oh.
Oh,
But that-
no.
Yeah, but that'll earn them big bucks.
Because and no, I've heard lots of kids, like overheard kids talking, whether it's on the train or just walking down the street. They're like, "What do you want to do?" And all they're talking about is like, "I want to be a YouTube star. I want to be a TikTok star.
Yeah.
I want to earn money becoming an influencer." I mean, it is, as much as we don't like to admit it, it is a profession now.
But you know what's interesting? What comes to me out of that is the confidence these kids have to think that they can do it and succeed at it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of confidence in these
And
young
then
people.
they just end up exposing themselves.
No, I think they're just being very ignorant, actually. When you sit with them in session and you talk to them what is required for the whole setup, for content creation, for video editing, it's a lot of work, actually. So
It is.
all the background work they don't see, they only see the glitz and the glamour of it. And they see the number of likes. But they don't know the hard work that goes into it until we sit with them and talk to them about it. Then they go, "Oh, you mean it's so much effort?" I said, "Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. You want to get right up there, you need to know the hard work that goes behind that, number of likes."
I mean,
So they
that's,
don't know.
Even for us, we're like unboxing something or over something, we're just like lazy. We're like, oh my gosh, just leave it for another day kind of thing. But all these influencers, they do go through a lot to create that content.
They do,
And
they do.
It's a whole setup.
Yeah,
and
but
hiring.
the ones that stand out the most are the ones who are just exposing their boobs.
Like, Glenn,
That's
not
it.
all, not all
If
of
I
them.
were a
no.
woman, that's it, no? I would be exposing my boobs, my behind.
You would have your OnlyFans account as
And
well.
then I'll have a bungalow. I'll be able to, buy like a Lamborghini.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well-
Well, you might be able to. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, today we're talking about teens and self-esteem. And you need a lot of self-esteem to create content as well.
You do. Yeah, but we're not talking about creating content.
No.
We're talking about a complaint that I've recently been hearing from parents and from teachers.
Okay.
The
Okay.
teens are still wearing their masks in school or outside. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
Let's continue to talk about this on The Big Show TV. It is Tuesday, the 11th of April.
Kiss 92 Day Check by Gain City. Gain City's 42nd anniversary sale.
Okay. Are they getting shamed for wearing their masks?
Well, what's the problem if they're still wearing their masks? I don't see an issue with it.
Because they're shy. You can't see their expression.
Is that it?
Is that the
There's
reason?
nothing there's nothing wrong with wearing mask. And if you're sick, you wear your mask. You know, if you're afraid of getting COVID another time, which some of us got 2-3 times, yes, wear your mask. But these teens, it's very interesting because I noticed even before all these complaints came in, I was saying, okay, when the mask rules lifts, there is going to be a group of kids or going to be a group of people that will not take off the mask. And people are asking me, which group is that? I say the teen girls, especially your 12 to 15-year-old or 16-year-old girls that will not take off their mask, or the boys that are not as sporty, also within this age group, that will not take off their mask.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's like a masquerade ball. You can't see the person's expressions. You feel a little bit safer behind that.
So the mask is a safety blanket.
It is. So many of the teens that I spoke with, right, and they come into session and I stare at them and go, I still can only see your eyes. I still cannot see 2/3 of your face. And they go, I look better with my mask. I said, who told you that? I don't know. I just think I look better with my mask on.
I think because they were given the option to wear it during COVID. If COVID hadn't come along, they wouldn't be thinking that way, and people would see their whole face all the time and get used to it. You know.
But that comment of I think I look better with my mask on is worrying.
It's true for some people.
Glenn.
No, okay. I sometimes judge people. I see them wearing a mask. I don't know what they look like. I see their eyes, and then I imagine the rest of their face.
Yeah, and then when they take out, you're
comes
disappointed.
up, I'm like, oh. I did not say disappointed. I meant stop putting words in my mouth. Where are these ping pong balls?
But it sounded like so disappointing.
That's because Glenn said it. No, what I meant to say was I didn't imagine the rest of the face would look like that to match the eyes.
That is so interesting because I used to do that at
See?
the height of the pandemic. I don't do it anymore because I don't care.
Yeah.
To me, I don't care. You're wearing a mask. You're worried about your safety. I don't bother about what the person looks like. But when it first started, I was picturing all kinds
sorts
of things
faces
under the mask.
And so can you imagine the teens, though? They're already going through so many hormonal changes. There is acne, there is crooked teeth, there are braces, things like that. They can't figure out their makeup and stuff. So it must be tough.
Yeah, but this is a stage that they are going through, the 12 to 16-year-olds, right? Where we are interacting with people, we're trying to figure out ourselves, we're trying to figure out who we are, where we belong, our identity. In the midst of all the, what you mentioned, right, the hormonal changes, the physical changes, the intellectual understanding of ourselves and the people around us. So in the midst of it all, we struggle with trying to look at ourselves and go, do I really like myself? When I look at the other person, do I think I belong to this particular group? And that's what the teens constantly try to figure out at this point in time, whether I belong to my group of friends. So sometimes they feel inferior. Many of them feel inferior. Many of them, are influenced by the media. You need to look a certain way. You need to sound a certain way. You need to behave a certain way. So sometimes it's just so much easier to hide behind something. So in the past, where there's no mask, they hide behind the clothes. Now they have mask. It's easier. It's right on your face. You just hide behind your mask, right?
And it's not just the face. There's also this trend where you need to have a tiny waist, wider hips, a perfect. Yes, the hourglass figure.
Yeah.
The hourglass figure that the Kardashians started and all that. All these teenage girls. I have a friend who has a daughter. They don't live here, but at the age of early teens, she was already aiming for that. For that figure, and you could see by the way she was dressing and all that. So it's quite sad that they're aiming for that.
But I feel like the younger generation right now, right? They're exposed to artists like Ed Sheeran and Louis Capaldi and all that.
Well, very real.
And yeah, they're very real.
They're very real.
Yeah, but on the flip side, there are also the others that they don't want to look like Louis Capaldi or Ed Sheeran.
Those are the boys.
Those are the boys. Yeah.
It's the girls. You take a look
Megan
at
Thee Stallion.
You take a look at some of these new filters out there that you have. Oh my goodness! I saw one of a middle-aged lady, and she came out looking like she was
Teenager.
19.
Yep.
Okay.
And when a kid uses that, that's what I want to look like.
Yeah.
But the kid will laugh at this old person.
No, but when they use the filter, that's what I want to look like.
That's the other one. I think it's called bold glamour, where you don't need to wear
Any
makeup.
makeup.
at all.
Yeah.
And it makes it look like you have a full face of makeup, enhanced lips and everything. And the filters are so good these days that when you put your hand across, you can't tell the difference between real and fake.
Oh, wow.
You know, so people, girls
Yeah.
especially, can sit in front, do their unboxing, do their makeup, do their hair, looking like that, and that's why they want to wear their masks when they go out in public, because that's not what they look like.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's really, really hard.
No, but I wonder, Gerry, how much of a role is missing from the parents here? Because as a teenager, I was very insecure. I was your 75-pound weakling. You know, the bullied kid in school, that kind of thing. But it was my parents that carried me through it. Don't worry, you're going to grow up. Things are going to change. You know, you don't look bad. You need to give yourself time. There was all this encouragement that came from the parents. Maybe today parents are working so hard, they don't have the time to do that with their kids anymore.
I don't know.
Let's be fair to the parents, because I do think the parents do encourage them and tell
Okay,
them
Gerry,
not to worry.
Hold on, okay? We'll go on air and we'll talk about this.
Cause I already got a good thing.
Kiss 92 traffic.
On the SLE towards the CTE before Woodlands Avenue 12's exit, a vehicle has broken down. Also on the ECP towards the city, right after the East Coast Park Car Park F3 exit, another broken down vehicle. Wherever you are today, stay safe.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is award-winning psychologist, Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Gerry. We're talking about teens and self-esteem, and AFD asked you stated something really interesting.
When I was a teen, I was very insecure. I had self-esteem problems. I was your typical 75-pound weakling, skinny as a rake, you know, that kind of thing.
With bad skin.
With bad skin. And my parents were the ones that carried me through it. You know, the whole, don't worry, you're going to change. Things will get better. You know, you're all right the way you are. It's all quite natural. Just you know, we're here to support you. And I wonder if parents today, because, and I'm not blaming parents, I think they work so hard, and they have to work so hard to make ends meet these days. Maybe they don't have the time.
Dr. Gerry?
Well, yeah, well, I was going to say that, you know, let's be fair to the parents. Many of the parents do encourage their children. They do tell their children it will pass, you know, it's just a phase. Guess what the teens say? The teens say, it's because they're my parents. Therefore,
They have to say that.
Have to say that.
Wow.
Oh, I see.
Well, it's
those-
true.
Yeah, the teens that are, you know, okay, self-esteem, and I explained before, there are different levels of self-confidence, self-esteem. So let's just take 3 levels. Self-confidence is your abilities, what abilities you have. Self-esteem is the trust that you have in your abilities before you can even reach self-worth. So these 3 levels, how you value yourself, right at the top there. So these children are still learning what do they have, what strengths do they have. So they cannot trust. So they can't trust themselves, and they find it difficult to trust other people at this stage because they're not sure what they have and who they can kind of lean in. They know their parents love them, but in terms of their own outlook, their own intellect, you know, they want to be like their friends, but their friends are as clueless as them, you see. Yeah, so they too then say, oh, but I can't trust. I don't know how to trust my parents. They're just saying it just because.
I think it's very hard for teenagers. I mean, it's already a very, very lonely world, and then they're going through all these things, where they know they're going to come out on the better side, but it's true, they still have to live through it.
Yeah, and they will come out on the better side.
They will.
The thing is, it's that feeling that they have at that point,
It's
right?
very hard.
Because for all of us, when we give teenagers advice, it's because we've been in that situation before,
Yeah.
right? But for them, it doesn't seem like it's gonna pass. you see.
Exactly. No, and
You know
they,
what I mean?
And they look at us and they go, "Oh, you don't understand. You don't know what we're talking about." Even though they do know in their minds that we have been through it, but maybe it was too long ago. Times
Yeah.
are different and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But it's a lonely time to be a teenager.
It's always lonely.
I wouldn't want to be a teenager again, quite
No,
frankly.
no, absolutely not. No.
Okay, let's continue to talk to Gerry on The Big Show TV. It is 8:15.
Kiss 92 Time Check brought to you by Putian. Introducing Putian.
But I mean, if we do have a couple of teenagers listening to us, it will pass.
Yeah.
And it is going to be, I feel, the worst sort of physical and emotional time of your life. In that
It's
sense,
a tough time.
because you're getting to know yourself. You don't know what you love. You don't know what you like. You don't know what you're supposed to be, like Dr. Gerry says. So it's a period of discovery.
But I think it is so important what FD did, right? He shared a little bit about himself, about being that, underweight child, being that bullet child. And I find that when parents share about their stories and not just, I know what is best for you, I know what will come, and not just tell them that, but share your story, these teens actually sit up and listen and go, oh, you mean you've gone through that too? It means that I'm okay. And that usually helps them along a little bit because they know that my parents are human. They have gone through whatever that is tough and they have come out better. And not because I know what's good for you, because that's how parents tend to love to put all their instructions across or statements across in that manner.
Right.
Perhaps they should show their ugliest teenage photo to their kids and say, "Look at what I look like. This was me, and look at me now."
Oh, I got a couple of those.
Yeah, but it's true because
Oh, my
because
image of like Glenn and myself and JC. Oh,
Get-
dear.
photos that make you cringe, and go, "Oh my gosh, I look like that."
But for FD, I think it's because he wasn't a sporty individual, not really sporty, right? So,
Not until late secondary, yeah.
and all he was interested in were girls. So that's usually the problem, you see. All of us, we wanted all the girls, we
FD looks confused. He's like,
I don't know, but for me, all I could think of,
I cannot tell this guy a secret, no?
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
Picha lobang.
all I could think of was girls.
of course,
Go
you
to
were-
church, girls.
You
Go to
had
school,
raging
girls.
hormones, and you
Exactly.
were a boy.
And then I had during that period, I had bad skin.
Yeah.
And I was skinny also like FD. But then I started going to the gym and I had
Yeah.
a sexy body. After that, really, really,
had been the
really, I
keyword.
did build up. That's true.
You're
No, the wife
welcome.
agrees as well. Yeah. Had. But she didn't even get to see the sexy body. Quite frankly, this was when I was like 14, 15 years old. And then the body was nice, but the face
Oh, dear.
still looked like it was rolled over by a lorry.
Oh no!
It's like I still had bad skin. So that made me feel so down during that time, you see. I'm like, got this body. Should I just put a paper bag over my face? Or
So
my
now
head?
you can imagine why the kids are wearing their masks.
Yes,
It's the same,
exactly.
it's the
the
same.
same
It's the
thing.
same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, it's not only the looks, but also the articulation, because they don't, they're still learning how to speak in a way that is, not that they are inarticulate, but they're not lacking in social graces, or they need to put across certain ideas, and they are still not very sure how to do that. Not everyone matures at the same time. So behind the mask, they can go make their grunts and their nods, or, they don't have to speak, or it gives them the delusion that they just can be quiet, just make a couple of sounds, and that situation will blow over. So even in sessions, sometimes I go like, oh, I actually cannot hear what you're saying. Can you speak louder? Because they're masked up, right? And I say, if you mumble like that, first of all, you mumble, I cannot hear. Second of all, I cannot even read your lips, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's how they cope with situations where they feel a little bit awkward, they feel a little bit inadequate, they feel like they cannot express themselves.
But there's also like a whole batch of like kids that lived through the 2 years of COVID, not needing to articulate themselves, not needing to socialize. They could be the tweens, they could be the 14 to 16, they could be the ones that were on the verge of being adults, about to go to clubs, and then everything shut down. So they didn't have that whole exploration of going out and doing what we did as kids.
Which is why there's research coming out of the UK. The biggest problem coming out of the pandemic was people being afraid to converse.
Yeah.
Because they had lost the skill.
Yeah. They'd rather stay behind the screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So the easiest way is to get them to take off their mask to start talking, but they're not.
They're not.
Yeah, because I mean, with the computer screen, you have the option to switch the camera off. So I suppose when they're in person, their option is to keep the mask on. Because that's like you're turning your camera off. Because once you take that off,
Right.
you reveal everything. To them, it's like being naked almost, you know, in that sense of the word. Because then you can see you can see them pull their lips. You can see them scowl. If they take their masks off, you can see their real expressions.
So what's the solution, Gerry? I mean, for these kids with self-esteem issues?
Well, it does take some time, but all of us can do our part, right? I think when they take their mask off, so you and I mirror each other. So when you see someone and you're facing someone, the easiest thing is just to smile at them and not try and stare at them or try to like look at the pimple on their noses or you know, hyper focus on something, which sometimes we inadvertently do, you know, sometimes we're tired, sometimes we are in a bit of a judgy mood, we do that, but just being a bit more mindful
Right.
that we are mirrors for the other person is very important.
I think what we need to do is encourage them. So the moment we get to see their faces after they take off their mask, we go like, wow, you look like Britney Spears, actually.
Okay, no, what
Let's not
I
lie.
do, no, what I do this with anyone I meet who takes off the mask, and I go, that's so much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always go,
Yes.
that's so much
Yeah,
better.
you don't have
believe
to
you.
comment
I
on
do.
the look. You know, you don't have to comment on the look. It's not about the look.
No, it's
It's
not.
about now I can see your
you.
face and we can have a proper conversation, you know?
I always say that.
Yeah.
Always
I
say
can
that.
see your expression.
Okay.
It's not, yeah.
But actually, for you, FD, during the pandemic, right, you were wearing the surgical mask, right?
Yeah.
Actually, those masks are quite small for you, considering your
Oh,
nose is so
my
big.
gosh, Glenn.
It's like, I'm sure that
See, Jerry.
there were gaps on top.
I have a tip for the parents, you know, I have a tip for the parents. In order to get to know your teens a little bit better, you know, teens love to use Spotify. And so one way that teens love to express is through their music. Go look at their Spotify list. It gives you a lot of clues as to what they and their friends are listening to, what are the lyrics. You know, so my two teens are as different as chalk and cheese. So the teen boy is into all the anime music.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh no, what anime is he watching? And my mind fleets to all the big boobs and short skirts, right?
Right.
But that's being a boy. And then I have a teen girl who has a mix, and she let me take a photo of her Spotify this morning. There's Twice, there's Adele, there's Louis Capaldi, and a few Capaldi, and a few others. Yeah, so
That's
it's
Kiss
a
92
different
music right there.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
we play all those artists. But that's what I've done with my kids as well. What I've done is I've shared one particular Spotify playlist that they can contribute to. So these are our favorite songs. The songs that for me, it's the songs that calm me down. So if I'm in a bit of a mood or I need like an uplift or something, I've titled it "Lift Me Up." So I've told them to contribute whatever songs they feel make them happy.
It's very interesting that you were talking about this, Gerry, because one of my kids, when she went through her teenage years, her music was really dark. It was very dark. And what I did with that was I started to listen to that same dark music and talk to her about what the music
Meant
meant.
to her.
Wow.
I hope she wasn't listening to Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Had quite a few very much like that. But yeah, you know, so I found that
Traffic
helped bring her out.
I think talking about the music is
Yeah.
the meaning of is
Yeah.
a good way.
Yeah, but it's not 100% accurate now on Spotify. I mean, I'm on Spotify Premium, right? And of course, I have daily playlists.
Yeah.
That's
They send to
you
you.
know, made for me.
Yeah.
Right, based on my
Yeah.
listening pattern.
On the ECP towards the city after East Coast Park's car park F3's exit, an accident has been reported. Also on the CTE towards the AYE after Jalan Bukit Merah's exit, avoid lane 1, another accident. And the final one on the PIE towards Tuas before Jalan Eunos, another accident has been spotted. Now this is causing a backup all the way to Bedok North Avenue 3's exit, avoid lanes 2 and 3 there.
All right, welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room.
Good morning.
You know, Dr. Gerry, we've been talking about teens and self-esteem problems and how so many teens go through it. There are parents now who have kids just shy of their teenage years,
Tweens.
right? Tweens. And they're going, oh man, am I going to go through this?
Oh, absolutely.
So what do the parents have to look out for?
I mean, the teens try to assert themselves and create their own world, you know. See if you can invite yourself into their world, you know, participate in some of it. It was very sweet. We were talking about the Spotify playlist. It was my girl that shared her Spotify playlist in the car. And then after she played like 4 songs, 5 songs, and then we got out, we were on the way to dinner, and suddenly she had a revelation and go, oh, how come all my songs sound so sad? And then I burst out laughing. I was like, oh, okay, you realize what your songs sound like, you know, and that's an opening to talk to your teen about the topics. Are you going through something? Is school tough for you? Which part is tough? And to share that, you see. Yeah,
I
so
love that.
different ways that
I think-
you can share.
I think a Spotify playlist is a way to connect. I think what they're watching also perhaps could be a way to connect as well. Things like Netflix and maybe
Yes.
YouTube videos and who they're following on Instagram and TikTok would be a good way to kind of connect and find out what they like about those platforms and the content.
And before we stop them from wearing a certain top or a certain outfit, let's remember that we went through that phase also. I don't know about other people, but I know I went through some phase.
I did as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but not so much, you know. I mean, because I used to observe all the girls.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, I mean, if a girl wears a pair of shorts and all that, you know, as guys, we notice as well.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to say that these days, right, the girls wear really tiny shorts.
Oh, they do. And crop tops.
I would never allow my daughter to wear the kind of shorts that some of these girls wear these days. They're very, very short. They're ridiculously short.
And you know, some of these girls, what they do is they change once they leave. So it's not like the
You
parents
don't know.
are allowing
It's
them to
almost
leave like that.
inappropriate.
Yeah, but
no,
you don't
yes,
know.
There are a lot of
Yeah.
very, very short shorts and
Yeah.
skirts
I'm like,
out there
why
now.
aren't the
yeah.
police doing something about this?
The fashion police. Yeah, let's call
Not
them
the
in.
fashion police, as in our police.
They can't.
Yes.
It's like indecent exposure.
Wait, speaking of which, before we wrap up with Dr. Gerry, speaking of the police, I was at the airport the other day coming back from Vietnam, and I saw a robot police. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
think to myself, what are these what do they do?
That's why, like, you see,
Okay.
because of the...
Those are those police that need to go after these little skirts. Then no one can blame them for looking up their skirts as well.
Oh, dear.
Robot
Yikes.
police. Yeah.
Where
Anyway,
did the conversation go? I
Yeah,
shall
not sure.
end it with a little perception. It's about perception. Okay. Hate has 4 letters, but so does love. Enemies has 7 letters, but so does friends. Lying has 5 letters, but so does truth. Hurt has 4 letters, but so does heal. Cry has 3 letters, but so does joy. Negativity has 10 letters, but so does positivity. Life is two-sided. perception begins with us.
Oh, I like
Very
that.
nice,
Very nice.
Jerry.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you for
Dr.
that,
Jerry.
Gerry.
Everybody, a lovely week ahead, and I'll see you all next week.
All right.
Thanks,
I
Gerry.
still can't go and see you, huh?
No.
No, Glenn, no.
Okay. Just trying. Okay. Thank you, Gerry.
Bye. See you next week.
Okay, it is Tuesday, the 11th of April.
Kiss 92 Day Check by Gain City. Gain City's 42nd anniversary sale is here.
All right, we've got Nian Tjoe with us. Good morning,
Nian Tjoe in the
Tjoe.
house.
Okay, so
Alrighty.
Nian Tjoe is our senior transport correspondent from the Straits Times.
And we're talking about potholes today.
Yes.
So just to get this right, I was
falling into it.
trying to explain to them. This is probably caused by all the rain, right? And then heavy traffic over the roads.
So it's not just all the rain, but a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least we are told it's the intensity of the rain, like sipping in to the cracks. But where do the cracks come from? Yeah, a lot of it has to do roots. Yeah.
Roots.
No, but more because of wear and tear. So
Okay.
besides getting the statement from the officials, of course, we went to other sources who said, maybe it's just construction,
Yeah.
heavy vehicles. There are more vehicles on the road. So also notice that the potholes tend to be on the slower lane. That's where
Okay.
heavy vehicles supposed to
okay.
be.
Oh dear.
Right, okay, okay,
Oh
got it.
no. So one of these days a lorry is going to go right through
hole.
the road.
That's a
It's going to
sinkhole.
be a sinkhole.
That's a
I'm telling you,
sinkhole.
these potholes can turn into sinkholes. It's possible.
So what's the solution for something like repaving the roads and causing more slow traffic?
Yes, I think we're kind of in a bit of a bind because on one side, the weather doesn't help, right?
Yeah.
You can't like, let's fix it today. Oh, it's
And then
raining
it
again.
rains, yeah.
Yeah, but also it's how it's repaired.
Okay.
That's a question that we're quite curious about as well, because you can do a quick fix, like band-aid it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then like in the routes that I take, for example, I realize it's always the same corner. Is always like a weak like a weak point.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
because it's been band-aided.
Exactly.
Right?
So
yeah.
so and then if it's not the pothole, then there's this other thing which is, I don't know, Singapore Power coming by or
Yeah,
Trust coming in, and the roads are always constantly being dug up.
Yeah.
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 I pity my Lamborghini driving friends.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Oh,
I wouldn't
my
want to
goodness.
But they
Pothole
wouldn't be in the
those.
left lane anyway.
That's
They-
true. But actually, wait, they're driving a Lamborghini already. Why
Yeah.
am I gonna?
Yeah,
why
it's
do
like,
I
why
have
you
to feel
pitying
sad for
them? No,
them?
yes, who knows? Who
To
knows?
hell with all of you.
Oh,
But how bad has this pothole situation got? I mean, like,
yeah. For us to be talking about it, it must be pretty bad.
So I asked for some stats, right? February of this year
Okay.
versus the last year.
Okay.
We have about 34% higher.
Oh.
Yeah, more potholes. Yeah, but I think it's also crucial to also make the distinction if these are just detected potholes.
Oh, right, the ones
There
that
are
are
many
unreported.
more.
Yeah, so
Wow.
kind of to the credit of the agency that repairs these potholes or is in charge of this, is that they do fix it quite quickly.
Okay.
So when we were reporting on this story, I sent a photographer out. Hey, there's this spot. We know that there's a pothole on Monday. On Wednesday, the guy went there and
was gone.
don't have. It's just a black patch.
So
see.
it was
filled
just
it.
cosmetic. You said just
can't quite tell whether they really done a thorough job or not, but at least they respond because
Yeah.
so one of these other things that you I guess it's kind of like what happens to us when we are ill. If you have a bit of a sniffle, you don't fix it, it gets worse.
yeah.
So the one of the natural progression of a pothole before it reaches sinkhole is that as the vehicles go by, the small pothole becomes deeper because the materials gets thrown up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it just gets worse.
yeah.
Right.
And then think about if it was not fixed over 2 days, how many vehicles are going to pass it?
Yeah.
And then the Lamborghini non-friends will be suffering,
Yeah.
as
Yes.
well as us non-Lamborghini owning
But
people.
it's terrible for the paint job as well, isn't it? I mean, people going over, you got all this gravel and all that
Yes.
for the cars, for the bikes as well.
Not
it's quite
so
dangerous.
bad, Not so
But
bad.
no,
to
but
the
I-
point where the gravel,
No?
comes up
Oh,
and
sometimes
scratches
it
the
does.
car.
I'm sure because it
Sometimes.
depends on the
that was
size,
only me
right?
when I was in Australia, and I went to rent a BMW Z4 at that time, and I drove up to the Blue Mountains. Of course, when I returned the car, oh my god,
It's all
You talk
pitted up.
All, yeah. But
Yeah,
I
because of
told
the
them where I
roads.
was going. They
Yeah.
didn't say I can't take the car.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But it's also to consider that the potholes are not just for the for the people in cars. I
For the
mean,
bikes as
for
well.
For the bikes,
they're even
Yeah.
worse for a bike.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I mean, spare a thought for really like the people who are on delivery bicycles, for example.
Oh my gosh,
Away from the
yeah.
mammals who are in their skinny carbon bikes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really affects everybody.
It does.
So it says here in the article that when a pothole is detected, the repair, as you said, would usually be done within 24 hours, which is really, really quick.
Yeah, they
This
try.
is Singapore for you, like if it's Malaysia.
Okay, I'll still be there 3 years later.
Exactly. No, it's true. I
Yeah.
was just in KL recently. You know how bad the roads,
the roads are
in
awful.
the KL area?
Yeah, the roads are
You need
awful.
a
And I think
mountain bike.
Yeah, it's been like that for the past few years.
Yeah,
You know?
probably the same pothole since you last visited as well.
Yeah.
You know, you guys sent people out, but okay, I tell you what, I'll ask this question
Okay.
when we come back.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Potholes, man. Love it. Potholes. Who would have thunk?
Who would have thunk?
Yeah. Who would be talking about potholes?
This is true. This is
I
true.
like that. Okay, here we go.
Kiss 92 traffic.
Okay, on the CTE towards the AYE after Jalan Bukit Merah's exit, avoid lane 1. An accident has been reported. Also on the PIE towards Tuas before Jalan Eunos, congestion all the way to Tampines, avoid lanes 2 and 3. Another accident. And look out for all those potholes. If you spot anything, WhatsApp us at 8855-0920.
That's exactly what we're talking about today, right
Yeah.
here on The Big Show and The Big Show TV with our second guest for this morning. He is the senior transport correspondent at the Straits Times, Nian Tjoe. Good morning, Nian Tjoe.
Good morning.
So it's interesting what you just did in traffic, because if you see anything or a pothole, let us know.
Yeah.
So I am a socially responsible driver, assuming I see a pothole.
Report it.
How, where, who do
Who do
I
you call?
let know?
So number one is not doing it when you're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Assume we tick that box, then you could actually contact over the various apps, right? For example, you have the My Transport app.
Okay.
It's on LTA. Then there's also One Service app.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can still go to your municipal office if you really like, this is something that's
Yeah.
burning.
Especially if it's in your area,
Yes.
right? Okay, but if it's like a highway and all that, then it would be the One Service or LTA.
Yes.
Okay.
So
and
LTA would be lta.com.sg.
You could also use the app, which is My Transport.
The
My Transport app.
My
Okay.
Transport.
Yeah, because apparently there's been an increase of like 34% more potholes detected in Singapore just within the first 2 months of this year.
Yep. This is versus the first 2 months of last year. Just that there was also more rain. I think if I remember correctly, in February we had some record-setting amount of rainfall.
Yeah, we did.
yeah.
So we blame it on the rain. Isn't there a song like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Blame it on the rain.
Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll blame it on the weatherman.
Blame it on the
Blame it on the
weatherman. Yeah,
weatherman
that
as
would
well.
be FD. Right.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks, man. Really.
Okay, but let's say you're driving and you notice a pothole and it's too late to kind of swerve because that's not what you want to do on
Yes.
places like a highway and stuff like that. What would a driver do then?
So grit your teeth and hold on tight. Yeah. I mean, the
Okay.
reason is the logic behind it, not so much for your dentures or anything, but it's just to keep control of the car, of the vehicle, or even a truck. Not swerving is really very important advice because you might be exposing yourself to oncoming.
Exactly.
Someone
Yeah.
on the next lane.
Yeah.
And not suddenly braking as well because of the
Yes.
people behind.
Actually, that's also a really good point, which I didn't realize until we were doing this story, is that the advice is you get in if you react when your vehicle is already in the pothole. What happens? Your vehicle will dive. So it's not just for the vehicle behind,
Right.
but then you dip the nose, your bumper,
Yeah.
whatever it is, your wheel arch and all that, you get damaged.
This
Okay,
is
yeah.
where you want to be driving a Land Rover Defender.
Oh, I love the Defender. That's my dream car.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
my
mean?
dream car. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
as opposed to a
To a
Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
Oh my goodness, the paint job is gone. So is your transmission.
Because some of these potholes, and I'm looking at the report and some of the pictures in the report, they're deep.
Yes.
Some of these potholes are seriously. I'm going to show one to Glenn.
That's what you're saying. It's
Look
if
at that.
if you dip in,
Yeah.
you're gonna damage the bumper
That's
and all
horrible.
that, right?
That's deep.
Is that considered a pothole? That's more like a
hole.
It's a sinkhole. Already.
No, that's a
That's
pothole.
a pothole. Okay.
That's a pothole.
So we're not just talking about little dents and cracks in the road.
Yeah.
We're talking about something that can cause some serious damage.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, things can get trapped in there.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Like little animals. It's true.
really.
Okay, we'll continue to talk to Nian Tjoe on The Big Show TV. Good morning,
All the
Singapore.
great songs in one place. Kiss 92.
Kiss 92, all the great songs in one.
Hold on. What constitutes a pothole? Like we're talking about cracks and all that. We looked at that one. That's a serious hole.
Yeah.
What makes up a pothole?
Well, pothole there isn't a strict definition of how many millimeters you go.
It's a hole in the road.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it starts with the crack. So I guess the best measure will be just think of us as commuters if you're on a vehicle, whether it's a car, it's a bike, or anything, is that you get this awful thump.
Yeah.
It's usually on one side. To me, that's a pothole.
Pothole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, based on that
photo I
picture
showed,
that
yeah.
you just showed me,
That's pretty bad.
yeah, that's a bad pothole.
That's a bad pothole, that one.
I never envisioned a pothole looking like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always like, on the tarmac,
Yeah.
you get an indentation there.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
to me is a pothole.
Yes.
The potholes that I've experienced,
yeah.
but not that photo.
That's literally a hole in the road.
So, Nian Tjoe, you've seen a lot of potholes in your life, I'm sure, like 1,000 something as
my
in the
teenage
report. Yeah. But potholes usually in the middle of a lane, at the edge of the road. Where are they
So-
commonly found?
It seems, at least from personal experience as well as when we hear from other sources,
Yeah.
right, is that they tend to be on the leftmost lane
Because of
Okay.
the heavy
because of the
vehicles.
heavy traffic. So heavier vehicles. So you also imagine that it wouldn't be right in the middle of the lane because you don't usually have that many vehicles on it.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's more where the tires are, you
Yes.
think? Right,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Yeah.
if you think about it now, who will be on the edge will actually be the slower traffic. Again,
Yeah.
we're back to bicycles, we're back to motorcycles. At least that's where
Yeah.
it should
Yeah, yeah.
And they share that lane with the heavy
Yes.
vehicles.
With all the
They're more
trucks and
vulnerable.
Remember, we had an
Yeah.
issue along Farrer Road when there was construction going on
Yeah.
for the MRT station
Yeah.
years ago. That was rather scary.
Yeah.
Because there were so many flats around the area, and I think a lot of them were concerned.
Yeah,
You know,
with the
because-
construction.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
so much going on underground.
Underneath, yeah. And a lot of shifting as well. Some people have noticed shifting
Yeah,
as well.
and there was a huge sinkhole there, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
It
big
was
one.
that one year.
But I think also something to think about is that the roads that we see, we're not just seeing like one kind of material that gets on the surface. The surface that your vehicle is actually in contact with, then there's it's like a sandwich of different materials.
How many
Okay.
layers are we looking at?
Actually, I'm not that sure because I remember having a conversation with one of the experts who says that actually experimenting using different types of materials.
Yeah.
Because you want to get water out,
Okay.
drainage. So either draining to the sides as well as right through the material.
Okay.
Underneath, you also need a bit of strength.
Of
Because
course.
all these big heavy vehicles and wear and tear, we're talking about like thousands of vehicles per day. So you need that sort of strength, but also enough porous ability to
Right.
let the water through.
It's complex, man.
It is.
It's very complex. It's very,
It's
very
really
complex.
Which
It's
is
like
why sometimes we drive in other countries and all that. Once again, I bring Malaysia up.
Yeah.
Right? It's such a huge country. I mean, here in Singapore, it's so small. And already we have
Yeah,
So many
a lot of things to
problems.
fix.
a lot of things
Yeah.
to fix.
Yeah.
What about these bigger countries?
What about the larger countries? I mean, if you've ever done extensive driving in Australia,
Yeah.
man, the roads are bad.
Yeah, and I've
Because
heard
it's
of
so
this new one that they're calling styrofoam concrete that they're using as well for roads and for land reclamation, especially because they still need it to have some sort of
Cushion,
like
yes.
a little bit like in our heads we think
Yeah.
cushion, right? But
Yeah.
it's not quite that.
I mean, there's also the other concern, which is about the environment, sustainability.
Yeah.
Right? So even in the concrete that we have in buildings now, they
Yeah.
talk about trapping the gases in it in the construction.
Right.
So
Okay.
I mean, it's
complicated.
It's amazing. I mean, just the kind
Complicated.
of thought and I mean, the people that really spend all their time discussing concrete.
Yeah.
Well, Angel and I met someone a few months ago, the lady who runs the startup who's looking at using plastic as a topping for roads.
Yes. Who already is using?
Yeah,
She's
So she
She's already
gets
doing
scrap
that.
plastic,
Yeah.
and that becomes the final layer on your roads.
yeah.
Is that good? No, is that a good
I
material?
don't know, but
No,
you
so
know,
they're taking already used plastic,
I know.
then,
Yeah.
and then sort of repurposing
Repurposing
it
it.
into roads. It's kind of like what they did with the shoes and all that, and
Yeah.
then repurposing it
Yeah.
into
I'm
tracks,
just thinking.
right?
I mean, we want to be greener and all that, but don't use all these
well,
things that may not necessarily be good for.
well, they've already
the
already
road.
laid some.
Yeah, they
They've
already have
laid
done some. Yeah,
So it's in testing now.
I think a lot of people are coming up also now for environmental usage would be things that trap the carbon dioxide.
Exactly.
You know, to remove all that carbon dioxide because we
Yeah.
have less trees and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that would be a good solution to me.
Yep.
But there really is no solution to these potholes, right? I mean, no matter what we do, we're going to get them.
So it's about
Maintenance.
maintenance, yeah.
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 And also not forgetting that with wear and tear, at some point you cannot fix it anymore. You need to do it again.
repave it.
Yes.
So would a solution be to report it when it's cracked? Because
Ideally,
you're right,
yes.
and then before it actually becomes a pothole.
Yeah, just like that scary photo of how bad it was.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
suggests that it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also roads are very specific to the climate and the road conditions. You think about it, like if you go to a temperate country where because you have snow, you have ice, then you need to have a different constituent, different ways of building the roads already.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually looking at that very bad picture. Did you guys notice that it's two different
yes.
materials?
Yeah.
That's where the crack happened.
Yeah.
That's where
Right.
the pothole happened. On the joint of two
The
different
joint.
materials.
It's almost like I mean, there's tarmac and there's like
something
Like gravel
concrete
or
or something.
something. Yeah, concrete.
And
in
it's
our-
on-
in
it's
our
on that
context, it would be
brick.
like the bus base.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see, there's also so concrete's supposed to be tougher, right? That's why because that's where the buses are going to be always jamming on the brakes and accelerating. Yeah, but we're also noticing that whether it's on the expansion joints or when the two materials meet, you have all this wear and tear that naturally happens.
Yeah. And then concrete is a little heavier as well. I get that.
I would
impression.
imagine. I would imagine.
There is a sustainability concern with the use of concrete, but also the cost because it takes
Right.
time and also disruption. Yeah, so it's really complicated. But as commuters, as motorists, our concern is my
Safety.
my safety as well as just comfort.
Yeah, because you don't want to be driving over
Yeah, I
like
feel like
pothole
you're,
after pothole.
in a Land Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Only if you have a Land Rover can you do that.
I hope all our flyovers are strong.
Are safe,
And that's the
right?
last place I want to see a pothole is on a flyover.
But they do look solid. Though.
They do.
But
They
I
do.
mean, having said that, are they main roads or flyovers have
Yes.
potholes as
Oh, yeah,
well?
I'm
I'm
sure.
sure.
But just bear in mind that when you talk about flyovers, viaducts, and all that, you're just touching the surface, right? I mean, what goes on below, it's a couple more meters before you get air.
Yeah, for
Right,
sure,
that's
for sure.
true, that's
yeah.
true.
The same concerns that are on terra firma,
Solid
you
ground,
also
right,
have
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Okay. All right, going back on air, this will be our last talk set.
Recommended treats.
How did they know I like ice cream? You see, that's
They've been
why they're my
listening.
favorite band,
They've been
Blackpink.
listening, yeah. And Selena Gomez is cute too.
Yeah, and she's going out with Zayn Malik now. I think it's been
She-
confirmed.
And she
My
is.
goodness, what's Zayn thinking about?
Oh,
Anyway, that's ice cream.
Come on.
She's not my favorite. Sorry.
okay.
You know, we were talking about these various apps that people can report on. Joel actually made a report on the One Service app,
Okay.
and he went back to check. Within a day, it
You
was
see,
settled.
that's how efficient we
Wow.
are.
That's how
okay.
efficient Singapore is.
Nice.
Which
nice.
means by now,
Something, man.
all our potholes should be filled up already.
Yeah,
Right.
but-
All get out and
Go on,
got it
check.
now.
as we've been talking, yeah.
Yeah.
On guard.
We're with our senior transport correspondent from the Straits Times, Nian Tjoe. Now, apart from the potholes that we've been talking about, COE prices are up.
Oh my gosh.
Damn, they're
I just want to
ridiculous.
ask you, do you think it's going to go up even more?
If we keep saying yes.
So currently the category B
It's 116 now, 118.
118,501. Motorbikes 12,000 and Cat E, which are your vans and stuff like
Yeah.
that, also 118,990.
I
My
can remember
goodness.
when you could buy a whole car for $118,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Actually, 2 cars.
absolutely.
Yeah. Actually,
You
two.
can still buy cars in other
I was
countries.
going to go
at that
down and
price.
check out the brand new GLC 300.
But with these kind of prices,
Wow.
You can check it out, just come put it on the road.
Exactly. Can you imagine?
it's crazy.
Oh my
It's
goodness,
crazy.
cars are so expensive now as a result of the COEs.
But at the end of the day, I always ask the question, is it a necessary evil? Do we want to end up like some cities like Bangkok, where it takes you 2.5 hours to get to work?
But
Yeah.
some people need cars, though.
Yeah.
It's not so much a want. Some
That's
people
why
need
I've always
cars.
said there needs to be categories for people who need cars. There's certain people who cannot operate without a car,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
they need to be able to afford the cars.
Or
For sure.
People with members of the family who are handicapped.
Yes,
Exactly, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's
So-
what I
so
mean.
the need,
That's
the
what I
need.
mean. There is a need.
Because a lot of
those
people
cars,
want.
Those cars need to be made affordable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh boy, it's so tough, huh?
That's a topic for another day.
So very tough. Okay, so in closing, Nian Tjoe, we were talking about potholes, and so there's no real solution to it. But I think we can agree that with the apps and all that, like you were mentioning, people should be a bit more civic conscious.
Yes, absolutely.
And perhaps maybe make that call or take a photo and send it on the various apps, so that at least the people who are in charge, will know where to go to repair the damage.
Yeah, exactly.
And then do it early when we see the cracks in the roads, right? Not so much when they become potholes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can use the One Service app. You can use the My Transport app. The what else was there?
Go to your municipal offices.
Municipal offices. Yeah. And we've also had some requests to put this article up from the Straits Times onto our Facebook and YouTube channels. People would like to see the pictures of these potholes and see what we're talking about.
Absolutely brilliant.
Little children stuck inside.
Oh no! Oh my goodness!
Children,
things
little
growing,
animals,
like little otters making it their home.
It's dangerous. Let's make our roads safe.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
So thank you very much, Nian Tjoe, for joining us.
Thank
you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.